What is going on, folks? And today I'm gonna do a little bit of cooking in this video. I've got this is a chuck roast, and it's gonna be pulled beef sandwiches is what I'm shooting for at the end. That's the end goal. So let's go ahead and throw some seasoning on it. I ain't doing nothing too crazy. Like I said, I'm gonna make a little bit of barbecue sauce anyhow. So let me just dig something up real quick. Hang on, folks. There it is. There's one. I got this for Christmas. Never really heard of it. Jack Stack Barbecue or something, Kansas City, I don't know. Got it for Christmas, like I said. We'll throw some of this on there. This is a 3-pound chunk of meat, so you can be pretty generous with it. Don't forget your sides. Making a mess at the same time here. We'll go ahead and coat this thing up. I need to get me a nice big old cutting board I could do this on. I don't have one of those.
We don't have a cutting board?
I don't have one that I want to use. And then I'm gonna hit it with some of this Cajun barbecue seasoning here. Put a little bit of that on there. Just do the top and the bottom and that'll be fine. I'll let this thing rest here for a little bit, and then I'll throw it on the smoker and I'll tell you a little bit more about that when that time comes.
Come on, you're watching the Uncle Mike YouTube channel. Stick around.
Now I got this pellet smoker ripping. You can see a little bit of that smoke. She's set at 300. We'll take this slab of meat here, set it on there. And we'll just let it go. So I'm gonna try and develop a bark on it before I do anything. A lot of people do stuff like this in like a crock pot or a pressure cooker. But I'm gonna do it on the smoker today. So I'll let this just develop a real nice bark is what I'm shooting for. And then I'll show you the next step of how I'm gonna make this thing just super moist. My apologies, I accidentally told you I had this thing set on 300. I have it set on high smoke, and I'll be sure to put this in there up here in the front. I might just edit it out, but I did say 300 when I first shot that clip. But it is on high smoke. This particular smoker here doesn't have a temperature setting. It's just high smoke, low smoke, and then all of your temperature settings that follow after it. So I have it on high smoke, and I'm trying to form a nice bark to it, even though what I'm going to do to it is going to be somewhat counterproductive. So I'm going to end up setting it in a baking dish, throwing it back on here covered, semi-submerged. You get 2 of these little beef cubes. There's one right there. Drop them on in there, and we'll let those dissolve, shake them up. Gives you about 16 ounces of beef water. And now at this point, I'm gonna crank this thing up to 300 and dump off this thing. I don't wanna completely cover it. I just want it up here about 1/3 of the way up on the sides. So we'll go ahead and dump that bottle in real quick. If I would have used a smaller tin, it would have been more ideal, because this whole thing would actually fit. But I used a larger tin, so be it. So we're sitting at about 149, and we're actually shooting for up there around 200, 210-ish. You want this thing to be just so you can take pretty much that meat probe right there and just stick it into any piece of this thing, and it's just falling apart. So go ahead and wrap it with some foil here so we can create a little bit of a steamer in there. We'll let that meat really break down that fat. Oh, I actually forgot I was gonna add some butter. It was sitting in the house, had the knife ready and everything. I'm gonna go ahead and put, that's a 1/4 stick right there. I'm just gonna set it on top of the meat. It'll go ahead, it'll do what it wants in there. Got our meat probe in the thickest portion of this thing. Got our beef water in there. So go ahead and cut this thing up real quick and show you what we're gonna do with it. Get your butter put on it, cover it back up, and let her come up, like I said, to about 200, 210-ish. We're really just shooting for a feel, not really a temperature. But around that temp, it should be about what you want it to feel like. So I've got about 2.5 hours in on the high smoke setting over here. High smoke. Now we're up here at 300. Temps are sitting steady 300. And we're at 203 on the meat probe. I'll let it hang out just a little bit longer. I'm gonna probably shoot for 210 before I stick it, just off the basis of what it felt like when I put the probe in there to begin with. So, like I said, she's foil wrapped, and we'll pop that open and take a look and see what we're working with here in about 7 more degrees. I just pulled the cover off, take a little peek, see what we're working with in there. It smells phenomenal. We'll come up 210. Pull this thing out. Man, this thing sure shrunk down a good bit. But you just want this thing to go in here with no resistance, no hang. It just needs to be able to slide on through here. That's kind of embarrassing to say that was 3 pounds. I could eat that whole thing by myself, more than likely. So, but I like the texture of that, so we'll go ahead and cut this thing under cool down. Put it in the cool down mode. Let it shut down. We'll cover this thing back up, let it rest for a little bit off the heat, and then we'll go ahead and shred it down. Make these sandwiches. Y'all have seen how I make this barbecue sauce. The only thing different I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take one of them beef cubes that I dumped into this thing, and I'm gonna add about ½ cup of it into this thing here. I guess a little cube fell in too. Give this barbecue sauce a nice beefy flavor. It's nice, sweet, heat barbecue sauce. I mean, if you've seen any of my other barbecuing videos, you've probably seen me make it. Get over here. You've probably seen me make it, so. Now, you might ask why I'm not taking the juice out of here and using that. Well, I don't want because I put that butter in there, I don't want it to solidify and create a layer on here because I keep this in the fridge. That way I don't have to worry about that at all. So I can still use this for a few weeks until it's gone. So I won't have to worry about that using that little beef flavoring. So I let this rest for about 30 minutes and it's just falling apart. And I got this fork in here to show you. So this piece of fat right there, it did not really break down, which is fine because of how well this actually cooked down and how tender this whole thing is and how it just falls apart. You can just pick this out when you get through here and you're breaking it apart. If you had some gloves or something, you could do it way easier, but I'm gonna use this fork because I don't have any cotton gloves a lot of people use with them other gloves on top, so no big deal. So that meat just absolutely fell apart. I'll go ahead and drizzle a little bit of my sauce on there. That's a little heavy with it, but she'll taste good. That big spout on that thing's a little hard to pour, so hopefully you like sauce if you're using one of those. Look at that, onion topped bun. Folks, that was a delicious chuck roast. And now I'm heading over here. I got some leftover hamburger buns. Pistol Pete wants one. We better hurry up for them chickens to get it, Pete. Chickens want some, don't they? Beautiful day today. A little grass cutting going on. Building some new fixtures for the chicken coop. The laying boxes I currently have in there, I don't really like them, so I'm gonna build something different.